Good morning. Want to take a little time and talk to you about my story portion of Move, Breathe, Create, the habit of becoming you. So the my story portion really came from an opportunity that I had to participate in a storytelling workshop. So it was really cool. I had some people looking to rent some space from us here at the beautiful Pure Strength and Movement. And they were looking to do some community events that could connect people. And a gentleman named Greg Gonzalez, who's from Denver, Colorado, was hosting this ceremony where he was inviting people to kind of tell their story. And it was really funny. I keep talking about the way that timing and like life just kind of happens. Is I'd submitted a proposal to kind of write this book, to come up with an EFD challenge, to find some way to engage our community here at Pure and get them moving forward with the mind, body, and spirit stuff, the stuff that is actually important. Lots of places say mind, body, and spirit, but what does it actually mean? I haven't heard anybody literally say that. So when I started kind of working on writing this book, I had Greg in my own backyard here basically, saying and getting me to a point where I felt confident in just using my voice a little bit. I realized that was something that, whether it's self-limiting beliefs or self-sabotage, every time that I really got confident, I really got a good goal, maybe I had a few haters, or because I am kind of a dreamer, people close to me will even sometimes knock me down. Oh, you always just, your ideas are in the sky. Well, that's where they should be. That's where the good ideas come from. Having this ideal future, having this dream, this goal, this something that you're working for is to me is literally everything in life. It's purpose, it's passion. And if I'm going to do anything, I want to do it really, really well. So this storytelling seminar just kind of unleashed me and unlocked me. I was forming the habit of writing. And what I realized is I was able to kind of own a couple of my attachments or my issues. And because I was able to kind of say these things out loud in the storytelling seminar, and because I was kind of able to write them down, it was literally a releasing of baggage. And in the book, I purposely wanted to kind of share my story because I wanted to give the example of, here's this guy who's, living the dream. People give me credit all the time, like, how do you live such a balanced life? And, I see you on your paddleboard and your family is beautiful and you just seem like you love what you're doing. And all of those things are true. But what people can't see is how many problems I've really had with stress and anxiety. I've had this clock literally ticking in the back of my head. And this anxiety clock is, I'm not good enough, I'm not doing enough, I could always be doing more. And imagine if somebody kind of challenges you on your work ethic or some of those things, it allows just this negative spiral. And I see this pattern with everybody else. We talked about habit loops in positive ways, but there's also habit loops in negative ways. We are conditioned to our past, right? Our past traumas, the voices that have been in our lives, or even the voices in our own head, kind of stop us from doing those things that really challenge us. So they put us out there and make vulnerable. Our brain and our body want to connect or protect us as much as possible. So to put yourself out there is hard. And it's so easy, especially in a year like we've had, to just kind of, a lot of these issues have come to the surface, right? So instead of just sweeping them under the rug, I decided to just dive in and go, okay, so what are my 5 attachments? What are 5 things that I just don't necessarily really love about myself that kind of define my behavior? And, once again, I want this thing to be all positive. Like, I'm really trying to uplift spirits. But what I see is, as soon as people start working on positive change or personal growth, those skeletons come out of the closet, those little things underneath the rug that you've been sweeping, like this emotion comes out. We talked about releasing trauma through your body. I've seen it over and over again in my training sessions. I've seen people take out like anger, aggression, this stuff on me in training. I'm like, I'm here to help you, dude. You hired me. I'm trying to do what you asked me to do. And they get mad because they're dealing with these emotions when they start moving their body and releasing it. So in the book, I try to use my story as an example to say, hey, here's this guy who kind of looks like he's got things together a little bit, but man, he's had some issues and he can own his stuff. Hopefully I can too. So I hope my example gives you the courage to do that little bit of self-reflecting, to work in the shadows a little bit. So in the back of the book, I purposely have put, I can't even remember how many questions it is. It's like 10 to 20 questions. I think it's 20, maybe it's 30. I don't remember. Anyways, I don't want to stay in the shadows, right? So there's a series of questions that are designed to just make you think, to make you reflect. So when you have one of those bad days, you have one of those days where you just don't have it. You have a case of the Mondays and you don't feel like being positive, personal growth, sunshine and rainbows. I encourage you to stay in the shadows, to embrace it a little bit, and to ask yourself a couple of those conversations and have that conversation with yourself and write it out. You know, I even voice dictated a lot of this stuff. A lot of my story came from me just voice dictating. I went for a walk and just things came out, and then I went back and just kind of cleaned it up a little bit. But I cannot tell you how freeing it has been to let go or just acknowledge those attachments, right? So the stuff with stress and anxiety is obvious, but you know, being a personal trainer and having body issues is like a thing. Oh, poor personal trainer guy. But like, you know, I've had a lot of hurtful comments from friends, people who even work for me. You know, my friends joke that I need a bra and things like that all the time. Oh, that makes me feel really good about myself. Why are we so hard on ourselves or on each other, to those loved ones? And all I see is this habit loop of people who say things like, I'm a mess. If you say I'm a mess every day, people are gonna perceive you as a mess, or even worse, you're going to believe that you're a mess. You have to stop that, right? You have to be your own best friend. You have to love yourself, and you have to be able to own this past. You know, I've made plenty of mistakes in my past, right? And I even kind of share a little bit of those kind of things, or some of these moments where I've been challenged. But these moments have all defined really who I am and what I'm capable of. There have been tests. These failures that I've had have been opportunities to get me exactly where I am right now so that I can do what I need to do. So that's what my story is about, and that's why it's really important, is I wanted to prove the big point of how stress and anxiety is really affecting a lot of people's lives. 1 out of 3 people have an anxiety disorder in their lifetime, and most of those go uncontrolled. People just keep going. It's the American way to, you know, what have you done for me lately? You know, no pain, no gain. And sure, there's times of focus. As hard as I've worked to get this project done is incredible. I've been doing a lot of those things. But I've also really gotten a healthy relationship with my ability on stress and anxiety. Because I've been able to own those attachments, these things that would never normally derail me have stopped. So that's what that part is about. And I encourage you to look in the back of the book when you feel ready and start answering those hard questions. Maybe you go through this whole challenge and it needs to be positive for you the whole time and you don't touch it until the end. Great. Maybe the first thing you got to do is go through and ask yourself those hard questions before you can go. Also, what I mean with flow your own way. There's lots of different ways that you can use this book. And I describe freedom as being able to do what you want to do when you want to do it. That's what I hope this book gives to people. It gives them the confidence and the courage that they can do what they want to do when they want to do it. And doing that is going to make sure that their mind, body, and spirit are in alignment, or as I like to say, harmony. So when it comes to telling your story, this is something that can be totally interpersonal. But I'm telling you what, it was the best therapy I ever had, was a therapy session with myself when I had a couple honest looks and takes into who I am and how these things have defined my personality. And I hope that you can find the courage to do that as well too, and have that freeing attachments just like I have. So that's how you can use the book to tell your story. And in mine too, you know, you don't have to read it right away. You can come back to it. Really want you to do the goal setting at the beginning of the book. Really dive into that, work on your head movie, understand the EFD process. If you skip over my story right away, that's fine. You can come back to that whenever you want to. All right, so thank you guys, and we're about ready to go on that adventure.